He tapped my shoulder like I was a waiter who'd missed a cue, leaned in, smiled thin. "My parents don't want you at the wedding," he whispered. "You can stream it online." The fork paused halfway to my mouth. The table kept breathing. Plates clinked. Laughter drifted. I smiled back, calm, polite, harmless. Then my daughter stood up. Her chair scraped the floor like a blade being drawn. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "Then find yourself a new wife," she said, eyes locked on him, "and a new job." The room collapsed into silence. What happened next didn't look like chaos. It looked like truth finally standing up straight. I've replayed that dinner in my head more times than I'll admit, not because it hurt, but because it proved I was right to wait. Before all this, my life was simple, earned, quiet. I built a logistics company from borrowed money and sleepless nights, 40 years of ledgers, contracts, handshakes that still meant something. I raised my daughter alone after her mother died, taught her to read balance sheets before fairy tales, taught her that calm was power. When she brought him home, he looked polished, educated, soft-spoken, too soft. He asked the right questions but listened to none of the answers, complimented my house while measuring it, praised my discipline while resenting my authority. I saw it. I said nothing. Silence makes people careless. The first red flags were small, a comment about modernizing my company, a suggestion that I step back now that I was older. He laughed when he said it. I noted the laugh, the timing, the hunger underneath. Then came the paperwork, documents he wanted me to sign for tax efficiency, accounts he suggested consolidating, introductions to his father's lawyer, his mother's banker, all generosity, all wrapped in concern. I declined, smiled, delayed. That's when the dinners started to feel colder. That's when my invitations became suggestions. That's when my presence became inconvenient. The night I discovered the betrayal, I didn't shout. I didn't confront him. I sat alone in my study, staring at a screen that showed everything. He'd been siphoning contracts, redirecting clients, positioning himself as indispensable while quietly telling my board I was losing clarity. A slow coup, bloodless, arrogant. My hands didn't shake, my heart didn't race. Something inside me sharpened. Preparation doesn't look dramatic from the outside, it looks like patience. I documented everything, emails, recorded calls, altered proposals. I let him think I was tired, confused, grateful for his help. I watched him overplay his hand. He didn't know the company was never fully mine on paper, didn't know the controlling trust named my daughter as executor, didn't know his job, his entire polished career, rested on clauses he'd never read because he assumed I was too old to be clever. I waited for the right stage. He chose it himself. That dinner, that shoulder tap, that smile meant to humiliate. He thought exclusion was power. He thought embarrassment would shrink me. Instead, it woke her. When my daughter stood up, I didn't look at her. I looked at him. His face flickered, confusion first, then calculation. He opened his mouth to laugh it off. I stood then, slowly. "I think," I said, calm enough to be terrifying, "this is a good moment to clarify a few things." I slid a folder onto the table. Thick, neat, final. "Your position at my company is terminated, effective immediately." I turned to his parents, pale and rigid. "And the contracts you believed were transferred? They weren't." He tried to speak. I raised a hand. "The trust owns the majority share. My daughter controls the trust." I met her eyes for the first time, steady, unafraid. She always has. His mother whispered my name like a prayer. His father stared at the folder like it was a coffin. "You used our family," he said, finally, angry, small. I nodded, "and you underestimated it." He didn't lose his temper. He lost his future. Within a week, his professional reputation collapsed, quietly, efficiently. Clients disappeared, references evaporated, doors closed without explanation. The wedding never happened. Not because I was excluded, but because the groom no longer had anything to offer. My daughter moved back into her own life like she'd been holding her breath for months. She didn't cry, she didn't apologize, she hugged me once, hard. "I learned from you," she said. That was enough. I don't hate him. Hate is loud, messy. I prefer balance. At that dinner, when he tapped my shoulder, he thought he was ending my relevance. What he really did was give me permission. Permission to finish what I'd already begun. I still smile when I remember his face as the room turned, not because of revenge, because of relief. Silence had done its work. Justice didn't need to shout, and I didn't need to attend the wedding to watch a man lose everything.